Okay, now we're coming to the last part of this presentation about, well, maybe this is just the fourth part, about Islam. I'll just play this here.
Just a few hundred years after Christ's death, another monotheistic religion was founded in the Middle East: Islam. Followers of the Islamic religion are known as Muslims. Like Jews and Christians, Muslims believe in only one God and do not believe in rebirth. The Muslim God, though, is called Allah. Muslims study the teachings of Allah in a book of scripture known as the Quran. All Muslims learn the 5 pillars of Islam, which include faith, prayer, charity, fasting, and Hajj. The Hajj is a journey a Muslim takes to Mecca, their holiest city. Muslims believe that their founder, Muhammad, saw a vision that told him to preach the teachings of Allah. Islam, like Christianity, has quickly spread out of the Middle East and become one of the world's largest religions, second only to Christianity.
Okay. So, the followers of Islam are known as Muslims. Then they call God Allah. The Islamic holy book is known as the Quran, as he has it spelled over here. Quran. There's different ways to spell it. So, is the Quran. Or it could be spelled Quran. Yeah. The basic ideas of Islam are laid out in the 5 pillars of Islam. Muhammad, right there, Muhammad, Muhammad, founded Islam, and it is now the world's second largest religion behind Christianity. Second largest religion. Okay. So let's go on with the website. So we have this. It'll take us to this website right here. Okay. So the Islam is an Arabic word which means surrender, submission, commitment, and peace. Therefore, Islam can be defined as a path to attain complete peace through voluntary submission to the divine will. So Islam means to submit. How did Islam begin? We're going to have this read out loud for us here. Mr. Computer is going to read out loud for us. Here we go. I'll go to right here. So the 5 pillars of Islam are
Islam is a monotheistic faith centered around the patriarch Abraham, and ultimately to the first prophet, Adam. All the prophets preached the same universal message of belief in one God and kindness to humanity. The last in the series of prophets, according to Muslims, was Muhammad.
Muhammad was born in Mecca, Saudi Arabia around 570 CE. He worked IRST as a shepherd and then as a merchant. He was not happy with the people around him because of superstitions and social and economic injustice. The people were worshipping many gods and had forgotten the message of Prophet Abraham to worship one God. Muhammad loved to pray and meditate in the mountains. On one of those occasions, in the year 610 CE, when he was about 40 years old, he received a revelation from God through the angel Gabriel. He continued
to receive messages from God throughout his life and began preaching to others what he had learned. His main message is that there was no other God but Allah, and that people should lead their lives in a way that was pleasing to Allah. Okay, how many Muslims are there? Islam spread quickly first throughout Arabia and the surrounding countries, and then throughout the world. There are 1.2 billion Muslims in the world, with 7 million in the United States. Only about 18% of Muslims are Arabs and live in the Middle East. So what percentage are Muslims are Arabs? 18%. The countries with the largest Muslim populations are Indonesia and India. There are two basic groups of Islam: the Sunnis, about 80% of the world's Muslims, and the Shiites, about 20% of the world's Muslims. Although they share the same basic beliefs, they disagree on who was the rightful leader of Islam after Muhammad's death. So there are two different groups of Muslims. We have the Sunni, and about 80% of Muslims are Sunni. And we have the Shiites, SHI apostrophe ITES, and that's 20% of the world, or of the Muslim world, are Shiites. Okay? And what do they disagree over? They disagree over who was the rightful leader after Muhammad died. Okay? And so often you'll hear, when you hear a Muslim say the name Muhammad, they will also say, may he, they say something really respectful of Muhammad after they say his name. I've forgotten what it is, but they say, may he live forever, or we'll find out what that is. Okay, so Muhammad, so the question that they disagree over is who was the rightful leader after Muhammad died. Okay, so what does Islam mean? It means to surrender. Okay, who is Allah? God. Allah is simply the Arabic word for God. He is the same universal God worshipped by the people of all faiths. Well, so Christians who live in places where they speak Arabic, if they talk about God, they will say Allah. They'll say that's just the word God. Okay. So what do Muslims believe? They have 6 major beliefs. They believe, 1, they believe in God, or Allah. 2, they believe in angels. 3, they believe in the holy book sent to all the prophets, including the Torah that was revealed to the prophet Moses, Bible that was revealed to the prophet Jesus, the Quran that was revealed to the prophet Muhammad. So they have a bunch. They have the Quran. I'm going to spell it the right way here. Quran. apostrophe A-N, Quran. They believe that, plus they also believe in the Torah, the first 5 books of Moses, and the teachings of the prophet Jesus. And yes, that's the same Jesus that Christians believe in. Now, they don't believe that he was the Son of God, but they do believe he was a prophet. They believe that he was a prophet, okay? They believe in all the prophets sent by God, including Noah, Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad. Although the Muslims believe in Isa, or Jesus, they don't think of him as the Son of God the way Christians do. Just what I said. Belief in the Day of Judgment and after, so there is also, they believe in a day of judgment, that there will be a day of judgment. They believe in divine decree. This means that God is all powerful and nothing can happen without his permission. However, he has given human beings freedom to choose whether to be good or bad. In the end, everyone will be questioned about how they lived in this life. So they believe in divine decree. Okay. I missed one. Oh, the prophets. So this is really 5. This is 6. They also believe in the prophets. Okay. The 5 pillars of Islam are Shahada, so declaration of faith, to bear witness, to testify there is no God except one God, and that Allah, God, and Muhammad is his prophet or messenger. So they believe in the so that will just say they believe in the declaration of faith. They believe in salat, ritual prayer. So that is pray 5 times a day. Facing Mecca. Zakah, alms, giving 2.5% of one's wealth to the poor and needy. So they believe in giving to the poor. They believe in Saum, fasting. And this is during the month of Ramadan. The purpose is to remind people of goodness of what they have and show equality to the poor. Ramadan is a time for study and self-discipline. So that's so they fast during Ramadan. And they fast during the daytime. So they can eat at night before the sun comes up, but they fast during the day in Ramadan. And then Hajj. That's a cool word. Hajj. So that means to go to Mecca in Saudi Arabia at least one time in their life. So that means to travel as a pilgrim. At least one time in their life. Those are the 5. Okay? Declaration of faith, pray 5 times a day, give to the poor, fast during Ramadan, and then travel to Mecca one time in their life. Oh, we already have it right there. All right, I'm Okay, so I'll just put the words in here. So we have Shahada, Salat, Zakah, Saum, and Hajj. And I will let you pause this video and fill it in. Fill these things in right here from what we put on the other side. Okay, so here's what the word, so Shahada means declaration of faith, or just declare your faith. And this means to say that Allah is God and Muhammad is his prophet. Okay, so you can pause the video and fill those in, but right now we're gonna move on with this, okay, because we already talked about that. Okay, so let's move on here to Muslim celebrations. So the final scriptures, so they believe in those other scriptures we talked about, but the Quran is the highest scripture for them. The way that Christians focus on the New Testament, but they also believe in the Old Testament too. The Muslims believe in the prophets, but they believe the highest, the last revealed scripture is the Quran. Okay, let's look at celebrations, Muslim celebrations. Eid ul-Fitr. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. This festival marks the end of the month of fasting of Ramadan. It ends with the sighting of the new moon in the sky. Muslims visit their mosque to say special prayers, visit friends, relatives, eat special feast foods, exchange gifts and cards. It's a time of thankfulness for Allah's blessings, which are better appreciated because of the experience of fasting during Ramadan. Okay? So it's the celebration at the end of Ramadan. Okay? And the Hajj is the pilgrimage to Mecca to worship in the Kaaba. Muslims try to do this at least once in their life. They wear plain, identical clothes to show that they are all equal in Allah's eyes. So they wear the same clothes, the same kind of clothes. They walk around 7 times counterclockwise. And it's this great big stone in the center of this thing. They believe this is where, I'm not sure, it's Abraham, maybe where Abraham was buried. I'm not sure. That's what they believe. But they walk in a counterclockwise. So this is clockwise. They walk around it. They walk around 7 times around it counterclockwise. 7 times. Walk around the walk around in the Kaaba. There's this big stone. I'm not sure what the stone is called. They walk or run 7 times between 2 hills. Walk around the something. We'll find what that is. And then they walk 7 times between 2 hills. So back and forth 7 times. Okay. Walking Z times. Followed by a 16-mile walk to Mount Arafat, where Muhammad preached his last sermon. They walk 16 miles to Arafat. It's a mountain. On the way back to Mecca, Muslims throw stones at 3 stone pillars, which represent Satan. They throw stones at pillars. Pillars which symbolize Satan. Then they make a final 7 circles around the Kaaba. So this must be the Kaaba. And they walk around 7 times. Okay. Eid ul-Adha. Okay. So that's that one. Eid ul-Qadir. Lots of celebrations here. Let's get to, so those 2 there. Muslim spaces. So they worship in mosques. A minbar is a pulpit from which, okay, let's go to mosque. Mihrab, an empty arch in which indicates the direct minbar, a pulpit from which the imam or prayer leader gives the sermon and leads prayers, from which the imam or prayer leader gives the sermon and leads the prayers. Okay, so Muslim imagery. The Quran is the holy book of Islam. Muslims stop 5 times a day to pray. So they pray in a clean place or spread a prayer mat on the floor. The prayer position represents submission to God's will or obedience to Allah. Both Muslim men and women try to dress modestly. Some women cover their entire bodies when outside the home. The crescent moon and stars are symbols associated with Islam. Islam is a lunar calendar, hence the crescent. Stars are signs of Allah. The mosque is the house of worship for Muslims. The worship of images of Allah, people or animals, is forbidden in Islam. So it's similar to Judaism. For this reason, Islamic art and architecture uses geometric shapes and patterns. The tower of a mosque is called a minaret. A muezzin calls Muslims to prayer from the minaret. These are symbols of Islam. Okay? The blank are symbols associated with, so the crescent, and stars are symbols associated with Islam. Islam has a lunar, means moon, calendar, hence the what did it say? Stars, hence the crescent. And the crescent stands for the crescent moon. Stars are signs of Allah. Okay, so we're going to stop there with our video.